Good morning to all of you, and thank you very much for being here. It's a great pleasure to have you sharing today's conference with us. COFACE represents the families in Europe, and we also have the immense support of the University of Salamanca, the City Council, and the regional government of Castilla León. Here at the table, we have Annemie Drixens, the COFACE president, Mr. Aparicio from the regional government, Miriam Rodriguez Lopez from the Council of Salamanca. She works for families, and Madam Suarez, working for social affairs in the University of Salamanca. So thank you very much. We would also like to thank very especially the University of Salamanca for hosting us in this wonderful historical building. I felt very comfortable personally because I used to study Spanish in this very same room. It was taught by Lázaro Carreter, and I also learned history from Miss Carratola, and I learned history from his in a very beautiful way. Well, I will not get too sentimental, but I'll just say that this is a wonderful building, a wonderful room where very magnificent professors have taught. It is a great scenario for us to have today's session where we will be reflecting on today's challenges from the free think, the belief in values such as empathy, equality, justice and human dignity, and trusting in the ability of human beings to transform history and societies. This is a great framework for today. The uses of time in our families. It is organized by the Union of Families in Europe. We have the support of the Ministry of Social Affairs and the 2030 Agenda. For those of you who don't know us, the Union of Family Associations is a non-profit organization at a state level for the public interest, working for the well-being and the rights of families for over 35 years. This organization is in turn made up by 23 organizations devoted to these very same missions from different approaches: healthcare, education, equality, fight against the gender divide, training elderly people and disabilities. And we also always have an approach to acknowledge diversity. From the very beginning, we have been committed to equality because it's the foundations of any democratic society to guarantee the rights and the well-being of people and families. And for that, one of the issues we are concerned about the most is the work-life balance and co-responsibility. With that, we are doing political action activities specified or that landed in the Families Law, which is stopped now because of the elections. It was based on scientific evidence granted by our research. The first research was called Life Balance Policies for Personal and Work Lives in the EU, and we had the support of the Ministry of Health, Consumption and Social Wellbeing. We ran a comparison analysis of work-life balance policies in the EU, and with that we found out more about the measures implemented in the countries of our surrounded, and with that we were inspired by measures adapted to our context. Secondly, work-life balance in Spain, inequalities and transformations after the pandemic. It was done in collaboration with the UNAF University and the 2030 Agenda, and with that we cast a conclusion. We drew a conclusion: the drawback of personal and family well-being. When we speak about balance, it's about balance time split into personal, family, and work time. There is a huge inequality between men and women. Men devote 6.5 hours to care. Women give 6.5 hours to care, whereas men give 2 hours of their time. Women give more time to care rather than to their own time, to their own free time. We know that the distribution of the uses of time and the time we spend sleeping, caring, doing the chores, and paid employment depends on the age, sex, gender, and socioeconomic level, and that has a direct impact in the health, efficiency, equality, sustainability, and well-being of people and families. We know that the use of time does not respond to free choice, but rather it has to do with the living conditions and the gender inequalities. Promoting a balanced use of time through the appropriate policies with an equality approach is essential for the well-being of people and for the advancement of the society. We need to acknowledge the impact of the Use of Time Act implemented by or carried out by the government. We must indeed keep on working to tackle this social crossroads. In the framework of the Spanish presidency of the European Council, we are holding today's meeting to contribute yet again with more information to the analysis on the use of time and the work-life balance, and also co-responsibility in Spain and also in Europe. And for that, we have two experts here with us. Annemie Driskens, COFAS's president, and she will be speaking about the use of time for families in Europe. And Mr. Moran, he is the president of the relevant institution in the regional government. And he'll be speaking about the use of time as well and the situation in Spain. With this, we try to promote an awareness on responsible balance. We want to promote responsible balance, and it depends, and of that depends a sustainable future where everyone's rights are fulfilled. Thank you very much once again for being here, and I now give the floor to Madam Annemie Driskens from COFASE.
It is really a huge honor to be here on the invitation of UNAF. So, Asuncion, Amaya, I would say thank you so much for this opportunity. Also to the university and the people from the local government. I'm really honored to be here today with you and to address and to speak on behalf of COFASE Families Europe, our network of family organizations. Allow me just to briefly present our network. COFASE Families Europe, we are celebrating this year 65 years. So we were the first international organization created after the signature of the treaty, which is quite a pleasure to say. And COFASE is a pluralistic network. We regroup civil society organizations with 50 member organizations today in 23 countries. And we represent and we support all kind of families without discrimination. So solidarity is really crucial for us, non-discrimination, gender equality, all those topics are key for us, are driving us. And we are very happy to have UNAF on board, so your organization, because it is thanks to the active participation of our members and naturally with the financial support of the European Commission that we can deliver a constructive and inspiring contribution to the social agenda of Europe. And as you all know, UNAF is very strong on this, so we are very happy to have this to work with you together on these many topics. And as COFACE, we see the family as a dynamic and an intergenerational entity that comes in different shapes and different forms and sizes. And we were also very glad to have earlier this week a very interesting conference that focused especially on the diversity of families, on the diverse needs of those families, and it was really an inspiring and very fruitful discussion. We all regret that the law that you were preparing together with the government in Spain didn't pass, because it is quite an immense work, and it was a nice project to see how many stakeholders were involved in this process. So we hope and we rely on your effort to push for this further, to implement and make this law coming into reality, I would say. In COFACE, we advocate for a systemic two-generation approach, because it is not only enough to focus on children in poverty, because there is a family in poverty. Child poverty means family poverty. So we really need to focus on the two generations, and if possible in a multi-generational context, because there are also elderly people that should be. But the two-generation approach is crucial in policy making to support families and children in their different life transitions from birth to old age. And for us, the place of the family, we see the family as one of the key players in the economy and in welfare, together with the market and the government. Families, they are the three key players to create welfare and economy. And if we look back to Corona period, we saw that the family was really recognized. The family served indeed to serve as a natural social safety net. So many people were safe because of their family, because of this solidarity in the family. And I think it is important to underline this two-generation approach, the solidarity in the family, and also the need for further recognition of the diversity of families, because nowadays we have so many kinds of families, so many differences, and that came clear out the meeting of Madrid. I think it's enough for now. I'll come back to you to tell you more about it, but thank you so much, and it's such a pleasure to be in this inspiring room. I just said if only the walls could speak, what a knowledge we could share. So very happy to be here, and thanks for the invitation.
Perdón, ya no, si no, ¿me oís? ¿Se oye? Ya si no os importa, ya no me levanto.
So if you don't mind, I'll remain seated at the table. And I now give the floor to Mr. Carlos Javier Sico Aparicio, Technical Director of the Families Childhood Direction of the Regional Government. Thank you very much, Mrs. President, Madam Chair. Thanks to the authorities, also to Annemie for being here. Thanks to all of you. And first of all, I would like to apologize the absence of the General Director for Women, but she couldn't make it today. So I'm here on her behalf as the Technical Director for Families, working for the Direction General for Families in the regional government. When I was told 48 hours ago that I had to come to today's session, I asked what it was about. When I saw the agenda, I was very surprised only reading the name. The use of time for families and its use for work-life balance. The time for families is very evoking. We all know that we live at a very fast pace. The duties in our families are overwhelming, and if the days had 36 or 48 hours, we would still have insufficient time because we have so many work and family and education and social and personal duties, and also for our rest and our hobbies and all that, so it can get overwhelming. This is why the title, The Use of Time, conveys a call to reflect upon this issue. And we all should do this to promote a better distribution of time. And there is no doubt that in that use of time we must refer to the work, family and personal life balance. I would like to mention something that Ascension said before, that's co-responsibility. Without that co-responsibility between men and women, it is difficult to have balance, because it seems that it's only up to women to find that balance. As it was said before, women give 6.5 hours of their time for that, and men only 2, and it should be balanced perfectly, because that's the only way to achieve actual balance. From the Castilla y León regional government, we are in constant development of ways to foster balance. I've been working in my department for over a year, working for families, and we have the constant attitude to keep evolving. I have learned much about things that I didn't know that much, such as work and family. And I realized that there is a long way to run, and everything that can be done from the administration can have a very positive impact. The current policy of the regional government are aiming at different things. And I'll give you just some brush strokes. You probably heard at least some of them. If you are parents, you probably have larger needs or bigger needs for balance, and our policies are aiming at these workers with children precisely. We have 4 work programs. One of them is the Crecemos program, the Concilia programs, the Supports program, and the Conciliamos programs. All this is aiming, Afiliamos, Concilia, Crecemos, they all refer in Spanish to supporting families to find balance. The program Crecemos, We're Growing, is deployed in the rural areas to give assistance to the families with very young children who need better balance. When the parents are working and they need to take care of their very young children, and with that we provide them with some facilities where their children can be taken care of during the up to 8 hours a day during their work day. And all this is funded by the regional government, the social services department. This is evolving over time, and this year, in 2023, it had almost 9 million of funds from the regional government, and there are up to almost 4,000 vacancies. Conciliamos program, we balance. That's the name in Spanish, and it's aiming to children up to 14 years old. And it's for those children and their vacation or their holidays periods. The families who have special needs to find balance during the holidays can request the participation in these programs during their holidays. Like I said before, there is a high demand of this for this program. It's well known and also appreciated by families because it provides services during the holidays that are essential for many families, because otherwise they will have to resort to their relatives to take care of their children. The summer holidays are usually very long, or also during other periods where parents do not have free time and they need someone to take care of their children. Like I said before, it's very well, it's used by many families in Castilla y León, and we allocate up to 3.5 million euros to this program. Is spread over around 70 years, which is not much compared to the rest of the year, and we reach out to over 18,000 children. With all that, the grants for short working hours days are aiming at those who have to take care of under 12-year-olds, or for families who are not able to take care of their children due to disease or other reasons. So it's for aiming at different populations, and also those who are hospitalized. So we are giving grants, like I said before, for shortened working periods or leaves. These rights or these grants are not very much, because they are proportionate to those who request them, and it's not requested as often as for other programs. So the regional government has calls for these grants, because it's an interesting monetary complement to those who have shortened working days. And the other program is for those families with only one parent and children under 3 who need more balancing. So we have a direct help of 750 euros to hire a caretaker or children attention facilities, or nurseries, kindergartens, and it's for people living in or register in the region. We reach out to a high amount of users. Last year it was almost 15,000, and this year we are going the same way. Most of the requests are accepted, and those that are not is because there are some requirements missing. With these policies, the regional government is taking an active role, and we're always thinking of new strategies, new lines that can promote better balancing and supporting the families. Supporting families is important for us, and it's ranked at the forefront of our policies. And for that, we would like to thank you for having us here to disseminating the activities we do at the regional government, and we endeavour to promote balancing and to promote new policies requested by the society, because the society is requesting a boost in these policies for the well-being of families. So thank you very much once again to all of you. Thanks, Madam Chair, and I hope you have a very successful and useful meeting today. Thank you very much, Mr. Javier, for your introduction. And now I give the floor to the representative of the City Council of Salamanca. Thank you very much, Ascensión, for inviting the city of Salamanca I'm representing here today. I'm sure you will be learning very much today about the use of time for families and its impact on life balancing. Dear Ana, dear Annemie, dear Carlos, who is also my colleague, what we call a lack of time might be one of the main concerns nowadays, which is very common, and it's suffered by most of us very frequently, like you were saying, Ascensión. In Spain, we do not sleep as much as in other places. Some say that is because we party too much, but we also work very much. The working hours finish very late. We work from home less than in other countries. And this is also important for balancing. And it seems that we are going backwards compared to the advancements during the pandemic. During the leaves, there is a high percentage of people who end up being stressed. Carlos underlined this, the importance of spending time with your family. But it's also important to have time for other things. The representative of the regional government already introduced the things we do at the administration. We have different balancing guides for SMEs and big companies, and we also provide information on our website. For many years we have been speaking about more rational working hours coming from Europe, saying that we had to look around and see our European partners, but we have to look into all the advancement during this time. When we speak about balancing, we have to speak about family co-responsibility with a balanced share of chores and family duties to fairly distribute the time among the family members. And it has to be so because we want and wish and need to have more time to rest. Carlos showed us before that it seems that there is a certain awareness, and coming from a man is very important, and we need to expect a continuity of these policies, these public policies. And therefore these policies are and must be cross-sectional. All the administrations need to take care of families and their needs. And balancing needs to promote awareness raising and co-responsibility, because that's the only thing that can lead to the equality we want.
So to foster flexibility is very important, and to adapt the schedules according to the needs that are determined by the citizens. So right now we see that the regulations following this path, also in terms of permission that have to do with family conciliation with the people in charge. In fact, the city council is aware of these needs, and it acknowledges these needs. So this is why we are developing different programs for them, and we can have different examples that I'm going to mention just for a minute, because we have to be brief in this kind of event. So in case you don't know them, we have quite a wide range of activities, especially in terms of for example playrooms that are aimed at that family, personal and work conciliation. These are social and education activities through games for underage between 3 and 8 years old in the vast majority of the city places, and from 6 to 12 years old and some others, just because of their specific situation. If we take as a reference the school time, Well, but we don't only do that during this time. We also do it with a program that is called Apúntate al Verano, or Join the Summer, it would be in English. Well, maybe the children don't have to go to school during summertime, but we see that these kind of activities are very good, and moreover, we have increased the number of possibilities. There's more room for people, and we are developing all this, for example, during Carnival, Easter, or Christmas. These are highly demanded programs with between 300 and 400 places, and in some cases we even reach 500 for the whole city. So we need to take into account that this field has been developed in every neighborhood in our city, and what we wish is to accomplish this conciliation, and of course we want to help parents of the city develop these conciliation activities in a comfortable way, and especially taking into account that the children will receive this support in education in equal terms, because otherwise, how can we accomplish this co-responsibility and conciliation in the future? So, we can only congratulate UNAF and Ascensión on the celebration of these days, and we have to encourage you all to practice this co-responsibility in our field, because it's very beautiful to speak about this from a theoretical point of view, but each and one of us has to apply it on a daily basis and on our daily tasks, and especially in our families. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miriam. Right now, we give the floor to Ms. Ana María Martínez Suárez, the Vice Chancellor of Health Sciences and Social Affairs of the University of Salamanca. We would like to say thank you to the university for having us in such a generous way. Thank you very much, and the floor is all yours. Thank you, Ascensión. Well, good morning, everybody. And it is a great satisfaction to welcome you all on behalf of the Chancellor of the University of Salamanca and this school building of the university, and especially in this room devoted to Francisco de Vitoria, who was a great defender of the human being's dignity and its rights. And with these panels, we can see that it reminds us of UN space in Geneva that has been a very important place for international agreements, for the dialogue for many decades, and we expect that it inspires you all in this analysis and reflection day about the use of time, conciliation of family, work and personal lives, and the co-responsibility, both in Spain and in Europe. I would like to say thank you to the organizers for having us and for inviting us to share this roundtable with all these great panelists from the European Union, from the city, from the region, with the president of COFASE, and with Ascensión, who is the president of UNAF. And I would like to say thank you for bringing this forum, this reflection forum, to the university. This forum that is aimed at fostering the creation of public policies that guarantee the right to time for everybody. These are political decisions time is a political decision sometimes. And the time is a resource that we are seeing that is distributed in quite an unequal way among the different citizens. We have what is called time poverty, and it's linked to the gender equality, co-responsibility, both at home and at work. Eventually, it's a key right for our society to be more fair and better. So, as Ascensión was saying, the schedules that we have here in Spain do not favor productivity, health, or learning, or not even the environment or personal life. So we have an important issue in my personal point of view, is that citizens are not aware of the fact that we're not aware that we have a problem, and we are not aware of how much it affects to our personal well-being and to our family well-being. So this is why we want to say thank you to the organizers for allowing us to participate. The university can contribute to solve these problems. The role that the university has in training the future and current professionals is paramount. We need to transfer the great knowledge that is generated, and we need to transfer this knowledge to society. And because of this, it is very important to collaborate. And thank you very much to all the speakers for the great effort. I would like to say hello to Professor Cavero. Dear Enrique, I am a great fan of his speeches, and I would like to hear about your approach. I have something else I have to leave. I won't be here physically, but I will follow the recording so that we can reflect on this topic a little bit more. So I hope that the ones that come from out of the city feel as if you were at home among us, and we expect that you enjoy the visit to the university. I think they're going to see the library. I think that's really worth it. I hope that you enjoy the university and the city. That's also important. And, well, we close this opening ceremony with the wish that is a very fruitful day, out of which we can all learn, and especially to set collaborations and relationships that could create important projects in the future. So, well, that's it. Thank you very much to you all. Thank you very much.
I hear it myself. Okay, thank you so much. As I said, it is an inspiring place to discuss about time, and it's especially, if I listen well to the introductions, it is also an inspiring city and region, because there is so much going on, and there is a good cooperation, I feel, with UNAF and also with listening to the families in this region and to try to address their challenges. So time, it is popular to say time is money. We all know this expression, but allow me to say that time is very different with money, because we all have 24 hours a day. Although the lifespan can differ, but there is more egalitarian division, I would say, from the start, from time and money. Time in the family is really important, and that's for many reasons so. Time in the family is essential for building strong relationships, creating a supporting, loving environment for children and those who share. And it's also important to spend quality time together, because it helps family members to bond, to strengthen their connections. This is crucial also. Time is also crucial to have an open and honest communication. Crucial for understanding each other, take enough time to bond and to talk. And as parents, we are the first educators. So we need time to impart important values, skills and lessons to our children. Family time is also essential, as it was said, to unwind, to relax, to have fun with each other, and this is also important for reducing the stress in the family and improving the overall well-being. And finding a balance between family, work, and free time, leisure time, is also crucial for a healthy society. It was already highlighted in the previous speech. And therefore, we need together to plan, to coordinate, to avoid conflicts. And COFACE, we believe that it is now time to move forward. As it is happening with the green economy, we would like to have a reconciliation economy. So we would like to have economic actors that they are measured also on the social impact they have in building a society, social protection systems that help people to reconcile. So we heard a lot of examples already, good practices, but also the economic mark should have effort, should do more efforts to make it possible for workers. Because there is a clear link between work, life, and reconciliation, and health and poverty. The more we allow families to reconcile their care and work responsibilities, the less workers will drop out of the labor market by burnout, illness, and the less families will be at risk of poverty. So it is crucial. And we have discussed this earlier this week in Madrid. Families, they come really in different forms and sizes, and they have their wide diversity of needs. But in COFACE, we see that it's clear that all families need resources, services, and time. This is our RST mantra, I would say. Families need access to work, to financial resources, decent wages, to live in dignity. And non-standard and precarious jobs can have a negative impact on families. And we're happy that in Europe there is now a discussion on EU minimum income that guarantees a minimum dignity to all families. The second need for families is the services. It was already clear from the examples. It is crucial to have childcare for families on offer that responds to the hours, working hours. It's also crucial to have long-term care for those who have elderly parents and other services to cater for the families with people with disabilities. They have their special needs, they need also to be supported. And as I said, the regional effort, I'm happy to hear that there is so much good work done in this region and an active role played by the region. The third main need for families of today is access of time, and that brings us to the work-life balance. Family leaves schemes, flexible working arrangements, they are crucial. Family leave schemes, there we refer to periods of time away from work for employed parents. And flexible working arrangements, they can take different forms, like job sharing, telework, smart work, all those flexible possibilities. And having access to those generous, flexible, and especially adequately paid leaves, it will allow working arrangements that are beneficial and allow workers to better reconcile their work, their family, and their personal life. And at the same time, it is good for the employers, for the companies, as it maintains a healthy workforce. People will not drop out, burn out. If you see the amount of people are in burnout, it is also a social cost. So we should take this in account in our discussion that it is important to reconcile for the healthy workforce. So it is really a win-win for employers and employees to focus on this. And that's one of the most important topics that we tackled in COFACE over the last years. It took, since 2014, we are campaigning to have this work-life balance on the European agenda. And we were so happy that finally we end up with a directive who might not be as ambitious as we were, but it is a minimum standard, the European Work-Life Balance Directive, and it is triggering change in the right direction because it offers paternity leave, it offers parental leave, carers leave, and also this flexibility. So it's crucial to have this. And currently, it was already said, here in Spain, but also all over Europe, as COFACE, we are supporting our members in the implementation of this European directive, because it must be translated in a national legislation. And I'm happy to hear that in Spain it's going well, but in some countries it is not that easy to make it happen. And I would refer to a report, I will not home in on this, but we have made a report, analyzed of 10 countries, you can find it on our website, where we analyze the situation about the implementation. Because it's good to have a directive, but most important is implementation at national level, naturally. I want to come back on the co-responsibility that was touched upon already this morning, because naturally it is important to have leaves, but it's also very important for us to change the situation and to raise awareness at household level, in the family. Because there we see that it's still today, mothers take the most of the household work on her shoulders. So they are doing, it was mentioned, 6 hours, and there are men 2, if I'm not mistaken. So therefore, we would like, as COFACE, we would like to raise awareness, and we launched a campaign, Family is Teamwork. We would like to start the conversation around the kitchen table, parents, partners, but also involve children in this discussion. Because at a certain age they can play their role, and they are also members of the family. And in this way they learn to have a role that is not gender colored. So this game, it was a game, so we thought we will, let's make a game about it. We made a bingo game, and I invite you all to look at our website, play the game, and try it out at your house to see if you can really end up as a team, a strong team, where both partners take the responsibility, where youngsters are just a good moment. Maybe I should repeat it, that they should also be involved at home. Welcome. So please play the game and start the discussion, because we find it's not up to a government nor an organization to say how people should manage this at home. It's up to them. But let's stimulate the dialogue and start the debate. So this bingo is meant to close the gender care gap, because still today, 1/3 of women struggle with this work-life balance, more than men. They're more aware, maybe. And also men experience lack of time. We could ask, where does this time pressure, this lack of time, comes from? And in this context, I was inspired by the findings of Ignace Glorieux. He's a Belgian researcher from the University of Brussels, the VUB. He is expert in time use, surveys, and so on. And he was looking at this question, where does it come from? How does it happen that we are under pressure time? Because we worked less than 50 years ago. We have more machines, we have more technology to help us. So how is it possible that in our daily life we still are under stress? And his vision was, if we take a closer look and try to understand today's problems, we see that they are rooted in a poor time management and a quasi-absence of time policy. If we look at the traffic, for example, congestion, fact that we are, has to do with the fact that we are all at the same time want to be at the same place. Shops, they are open the whole day, where so many people are at work. It was already touched upon. The logic of working hours for parents do not match with the school hours. The calendars of parents are not aligned in with those of their children. And this gives a lot of problems. And we see that one of the reasons is that today, different ministries or local municipalities, they are concerned with this collective time ordering, each in his field or her field. So the minister responsible for working hours decides about the hours we work. The minister of pension, he decides how long we should work in the age. The minister is there is another ministry concerned about the opening hours of the shops. Another one is deciding about leisure time. Another one about education, the calendar. So all of them are bringing out rules, let's say, but there is no coordination, no interdepartmental commitment. So there is a clear need to better coordinate and align this important thing. And I was wondering, should we advocate for a minister of time? Would that be the solution? I don't know. But I don't have ready-made solutions, but I want to share some ideas with you and experiences that can be further developed and can be further researched, food for thought, I would say. If we think about solutions to better align work time and school time, there are lessons that we learned from Corona, from COVID. Because since COVID, work at home is for many people an option, while before it was rarely chosen as an option. And this allows parents also to be more flexible. They can go to work, they can come back earlier at home, pick up the children, and then reconnect with their work from home when the kids are busy with homework. So it allows them, but it must be a choice, naturally. You should not be forced to do so, but it can help parents to combine work-life balance. Another idea I want to share, it was already mentioned, maybe is the same, join the summer, I learned here. There is an idea in Belgium, the broad school idea. In Austria, they call it all-day education and care, which means that kids are at school. Don't get me wrong, it is not meant to enlarge their working day, because being at school, learning is work for them, but it is meant, the idea is rather than enlarging the school time, it is bringing in leisure activities into the school environment. So sports, academic, paintings, creativity, Dixie, all this, in cooperation with associations or with the cities, like we heard here, that there is an effort to do so. I think it might be useful for children, because they can enjoy, they can meet their friends, they can engage in sport, in cultural activities offered in school, but not by their teachers, but by really other people who are really involved in sports and in those cultural activities. It has also an advantage for parents, because they can pick up their kids a bit later, and it can allow them to combine work and family. And it offers also, in my opinion, the potential to reduce social inequalities. Because what we see so many times is that it are always the same children, same group of children, who are attending those kind of activities. Because sometimes they need somebody to take them there. And if you end up with parents or neighbors who don't have time to bring you to this activity, it creates quite a social inequality. So many kids are kept away from those extracurricular activities nowadays, because they have no parents as taxi to bring them. So bringing those activities to the school or to the environment where kids could easily go with a little guidance, but don't need to be brought there, it could, in our view, reduce social inequalities and make it so it could fit many desires and needs. I would also briefly refer to a debate about the seasonal time changes that might come up, because we're going to have the winter time soon, and might come up this discussion in Europe, as well as the discussion about the division of countries in different time zones. And in this context, I'm happy to refer to the Barcelona Declaration on Time Policies, and the need to further discuss with the aim for coherence and agreement on time zones, and it need to be done with health and well-being as main criteria. So I think this exercise is an ongoing exercise, and it's really very important. So as I said already, there are no really coordinated time policies, but I need to take the time in my, I still have time to, and I think a few moments. So as I said, no concrete solutions, but it's really good to discuss about all this all together, and I'm really looking forward to your input and your ideas to share. I just wanted to say that no concrete solutions, but a clear need for time policies, clear need to all together make a solution, and also to optimize the collective time management. And I would highlight here the 3 levels where we need this time management, where it needs to be optimized. First of all, we need to go for a balance between public and private life, between working hours and family life, between online and offline life. And here I would like to refer to our project. We had a DigiGen project where we looked at the behavior of youngsters online. And it was very interesting, so you can find more information, of course, on our website. But I just wanted to share 2 things that we learned. We learned, first of all, that it is not enough to focus on time restrictions. You know, a lot of parents want to restrict the time that their kids are online to balance this offline and online world. It's not enough to focus on these time restrictions, but we rather, as parents, should look at the quality of time. What are the children doing online? Are they connecting with friends? Are they looking for a nice recipe to make it at home? Are they busy with a creative activity? Are they doing their homework? So rather than only you have 1 hour time to do, looking at how does it help them to their well-being? So how does it rely to their friends? And our research found also that there is no evidence for that children who use technology more intensively spend less time with others, with friends. So they found a balance in our study that is quite useful for their well-being. So we don't need to be worried about some cases naturally well, but in general, youngsters, they can find a balance between this online and offline world. Sometimes as a parent, I feel that we need to drop the connection, that we need to disconnect to relieve our brains. So maybe we could also try to slow down a little bit. I was inspired also by a person, Carol Honoré, who is preaching, let's say, the slowing down method. He has written books about slow food, not fast food, but slow food, slow parenting, how to bring in this relaxed approach to this work. Allow me to say time management can be optimized also on another level. And in my view, it must be fair and it must promote equality. I would like to give the example of the online shopping. It's very good that we can do this. But if you think about the effect of what you order in the evening is delivered the next morning, even though you were not pressed, but it is normally like that. And this system is only possible if the vulnerable workers in the labor market, they accept to do this kind of work, because it's very irregular work, it's very incoherent. It is non-fixed hours that you have to work. So I think if we want really to come to a time management, we should reflect on this kind of things, because this is not fair, not sustainable, and it should change. We should take more time, yeah, this is the topic of today, and not be having a product ordered today, delivered the next morning. If we give more time, it can be more organized, it can bring less cars in the street, so it has multiple, let's think about it, to change this thing. Last thing to optimize time management, I wanted to highlight that it must promote well-being, and it must also give a rhythm to our life. And I think evenings and Sundays, they might be quieter. It's good to relax and to also feel it. It is also important in this context that you take your lunch break, best distinguished from work, to have really a break. And I know in Spain you are rather late in taking the break, but I think it's good to take a break and to really learn how to slow down and to not get in a rush. Because we should not always be able to do or to buy everything, everywhere, at every moment. And I would like to quote a nice song, maybe a bit old-fashioned, but it is from Judy Collins. And it is, the quotation is, "There is a season for everything, and a time to every purpose under heaven." I think there is so much wisdom in this song. Just wanted to quote this, but maybe we can listen after it. I'm almost ready, because my time is over, I think. But I just wanted to highlight that COFACE Families Europe is very happy to participate in this debate together with UNAF, together with all the partners here, with the council, with the regional representatives, because at all levels we have our responsibility. It is a co-responsibility from all the stakeholders. It is a co-responsibility in the family, so share the care, close the gender care gap, play the bingo, I would say, And it is also our ambition to stay in touch with all of you, to join forces and to develop and implement really time policies. Time policies that advance gender equality, that take a two-generation approach, and that address the complexity and the diversity of family needs. Those policies, we are happy to cooperate with you on those policies, and they must ensure that all families all over Europe can be resilient to internal and external shocks. Families can strike the balance between work, care, and family life, and that all families can move forward. Thank you so much for being with us today, and I'm really looking forward to your input and your reactions. Thank you.
Si alguna de vosotras, uy, me oigo doble. Si alguna de vosotras
If any of you has any question or any contributions on the use of time, you can do it now. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? The time management is essential because we're always complaining about that, so we need to improve it. No questions? Or do you have any thoughts or feedback on what was said before? Thank you very much. Muchas gracias por ese discurso. Ha sido muy interesante. And I'm going to go on in Spanish so I can understand myself. Regarding all those things that happen in families in our daily lives and that can have an impact on not having co-responsibility or resulting in unbalanced time management among the members of the family, because some of the women of a certain age here have suffered from that. We've experienced that. We were told, or we would used to say ourselves that our husbands are helping us, and it's not about helping. We should have an equal timeshare that involves the whole family unit. But whenever that happens, that's malfunctioning. This is due to faulty education, some failures in education. Maybe not a failure, but maybe we have not stressed enough that everyone is responsible beyond the social or economic sphere, but also in the family, because that also impacts all the walks of life for women and men. I don't know whether right now schools are teaching that to children, and also later on in university or higher education. I don't know whether they are discussing equal time management, because this is about equality in the end, and the impact it has when this is not sorted out. It can entail a barrier for women in the world of work, for instance. So that's it. Thank you.
It was a statement that I fully agree, but I just wanted to reflect on your opinion. I think still today we see men involved in the household, but the management is still in the hands of women. So women are still the home managers. It's important to say that. And we should indeed educate our partners, but also our children. And the school indeed has an important role, although parents are the first educators. So it is at home that you also should lead by example, I would say. So please share the care and involve your children, and let us lead by example, not giving the homework to the girls and leave the boys quiet on their study, but really involve everybody in a team. But at school, it's also still a long way to go, because if you look at some school books that are still used in so many schools, the depicturing of the family is quite traditional, although in reality, most of the families are composed with dual earners, so both partners work, and so it's not, but I think there is still a long way to go, and equal management. We raise this question always, that we should be more equal, share the care. You know, in Europe there is a huge discussion on the pension gap, the fact that women have less pension, or there is a huge thing about the pay gap. But in our opinion, those two gaps are caused, or the reason for them is this care gap. If we ensure that women can rely on more care services or can better combine their work, there is no problem with pay, because then equal pay is closer by, and also with pension. So we focus on closing this gender care gap, and therefore the Work-Life Balance Directive, as I mentioned, is crucial, because there is paternity leave and there is parental leave. That is only some of the parts of there are dedicated to the father, to the partner. And it is the thing that if they don't take it up, they lose it. So take it or lose it. That's the system. But indeed, there is still a long way, not only at school, but also in the companies, to convince employers that a man who is taking parental leave is not a loser. I mean, also at that field, we have still a long way to go. But due to the directive, we are moving in the right direction, in our opinion. But we need to hold on and to make it happen. And it's in the interest of the whole society, I think. I don't know if that answers your reaction. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much to be here, and thank you very much for your speech. My question is, what do you think about the time management according with Gary Becker? Gary Becker, an economist with many papers about the family and the use of the time according with the market. I mean, wages and incomes, and he, according with all the works in the Gary Becker vision, is maybe the use of the time inside of the family is according with the income in total family. Thank you.
Yeah, that is this. Naturally, we take the family perspective to talk about time in the family and co-responsibility. If you take the economic perspective, it's quite different, because then you need more women in the labor market. You need, and that's what in Europe and so many countries is happening today, trying to push women to go to work without taking in consideration the unpaid work that those women are delivering. I mean, a lot of women from my age, so they are nearly going to the retirement, they are leaving earlier because they have their own parents to care for, and there is no care, no service for them. So if you take into account the unpaid and mostly invisible work that women are doing, this theory doesn't fit with reality. So it is their driven force to have more employees so that they can bring the income. And don't get me wrong, it is important to involve women, but you should make it possible by creating services to support those women, and also to give them the free choice and not oblige them to go there. In our opinion, we should offer a palmarès of possibilities to people so that they can really choose. That's important, the freedom of choice, and it should be a real choice, naturally not a trap where you end up. But in the economic perspective, it's quite different, and we have often discussions with economists, and we try to bring in, like I said before, the cost of burnout. You should take it in account, because it's also due to the stress at work. in combination maybe with the stress at home, that people get burned out. If you take this cost, social cost, the social security cost of burnouts, of people in long time being ill, it's quite an economic cost. And economy is also responsible. It's a shared responsibility also at that field. Don't know if it's okay. Yeah. We can discuss further if you want. But,
Buenos días.
Good morning. Thanks, Ascension, for organizing this event, and thanks to you as well for your presentation. I want to put something on the table. It's an issue that I carry as the radical feminist I feel I am. Lately, we have been hearing, also in Latin America, we're hearing about laws on professional care that should be carried out by professional women, mainly. We have understood that there is co-responsibility there, but we are skipping other issues. I'm not going to undervalue the role of women as caretakers, because it should not be undervalued, of course, but it is not that women have to turn into care professionals either.
yeah, I totally agree. We should not. We should give a gender-responsive answer and make gender equality also in that sector happening. And we are trying to. It is in preparation. There is a new Universal Day, end of this month, 29th of October. It will be focused, Universal Day, on professional carers. And one of the topics is naturally to give professional carers a decent wage, decent time management, because they're all under pressure in this sector, but also the gender equality is one of the topics that we, together with other organizations in Europe, are bringing to the fore in this discussion. Indeed, we should involve men more in practical life in those things, and not only in the high-level groups. So, yeah, it is dangerous to have this kind of gendered law. I mean, without gender positive effect. We should focus really on gender responsive, of gender transformative, maybe in this case, gender transformative. That it is important that men also in this field take their responsibility as professionals. And therefore, not only for that, but in general, we need to pay those jobs. We need to really to invest in a decent status of this. And if you do this, it is in the favor of women, but it can also attract men more, I think. So there are many ways. But we could give you this universal declaration action that we are preparing, specific on this professional care. Naturally, for us, it's also important to highlight the informal care and to say, share the care. Informal care is also this invisible work that is really important for society, but it is not paid at all. So we have also a charter for these carers, for those carers, to recognize them and to give them some social rights. I invite you to have a look at our website. It may inspire you in this discussion. Thank you for your question.
Hello, good morning. This is rather a thought, inner thought of mine. When you mention work from home is an advantage for work balance in families. And during the pandemic, we did perceive work from home as an advantage for many people, many families as well, but it was a disadvantage for many women as well, because their homes became their places of work, and their non-paid work and the paid work got mixed together. So my big question, or the big doubt here, is how can we put forward a new way of working, reducing the workload, the amount of time working is not always feasible. So we could have more flexible work from home, but in many homes there is this double role with cares and all that. So this is my thought about that. I'm wondering whether there are more or less advantages in work from home, and whether it can be rearranged for a better balance.
Thank you for that question. Thank you for your question, because it is also our concern. We saw during pandemic that people, as you said, could work from home, but in so many cases it was a drama for women, because they became teacher, they became carer, they have to do their own job and their household. And it was really disappointing to see that although men, and it is proven by research afterwards, although men were also at home, they didn't take up the other responsibilities coming to this fact. So it is a disappointment, because you are both at home, men and women are partners, and still you see that there is one person taking up it all. And I would say, as I said, it should be a choice, and it depends on the age of the children. I'm convinced that with a baby working from home, it depends if he sleeps or she sleeps long, but normally they need to be cared for. If you have children, teenagers, they can have their time on their own a little bit. So being at home at that time, being busy with your own work, it might be possible. But it depends on so many factors. We saw also that it is not evident to organize a home office for everybody. Sometimes you are living in an apartment, you have to share the room with many people in the room. So indeed, you're right, it is not evident that this is the solution. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but it might be an element in the puzzle of this work-life balance. And that's important to highlight this. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to say this. So it depends on the age of the children, if they take their own responsibility, if they're growing older. Because I see friends who have children from 10 years on, and they manage to pick them up at school. Then they have a nice little thing to eat or something. Children do their homework, while the parent is back at work, let's say, in the home office, and then they join for the dinner. So, but it should be a free of choice, and it should be one piece of the puzzle offered for everybody. So that even if you want to choose, that would be the idea. Thank you.
Ana Belén.
This will be the last question. So thank you very much for having me here. Rather than a question, I have some thoughts on work from home and balance. I think it's very hard to combine this. I work for an organization where we have been told that work from home is a way to organize work. It is not a way to find balance. Because if I stay at home and work from home, I cannot take care of my child, because I can do either one thing or the other, no both. So again, I believe that balance is necessary for young and adults. But I think it is very difficult to combine, and it can impact the performance at work, and that's also important. And don't get me wrong. Having said that, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think, as I said, it should be a choice. It should also be balanced with working at the office. So you need enough time to reconnect with your office. And I just wanted to highlight, there was a study ongoing in Belgium to see the impact during Corona, people being all the day in front of their screen. They had a lack of a hormone in their brains that helps them to be happy. So if you are too much addicted to your screen, it has even physical effects on your happiness. So, but I think it's important to discuss about it, to see it as an option. Because in the COFASI office we are a small team, And sometimes people have to finalize a paper. And then they prefer to go at home, if it is a quiet home naturally, to be concentrated really on this output. But they always like to come back to the office to have this. We are social beings, I mean, social human beings, so we need really this interaction. It's so an enrichment. But it could help the traffic jam, the congestion, if we are a bit more flexible. So it is, as I said, a piece of the puzzle, but I agree with you, we should find a way out. Yeah.
We don't have time for more interventions, but you will have time for more actions after Enrique Cabrero's presentation. Thank you very much for your input.
Bueno, buenos días. Es un placer para mí presentaros.
So good morning, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Enrique Cabrero. I'm very grateful to have him here today. Enrique Cabrero Mora has a degree and PhD in law by the University of Salamanca and professor of work law and social security of this university. Right now he's the president of the Economic and Social Council of Castilla y León since 2019. He was the general coordinator of the Consortium Salamanca 2022 that was in charge of organizing Salamanca 2002 European City of the Culture, European Cultural City, it was between 2002 and 2003. And he is the sponsor of the 8th centenary of the University of Salamanca in 2019. He has been a counselor at the University of Salamanca between 2012 and 2015 and vice chancellor of this university between 1994 and 2000 and between 2017 to 2019. He has been the manager of the social work and social work law department. He is an expert in labor risks, and he works for the professorship of risk prevention. He works for CERLA since year 2002, and as many of you know, he's the author of more than 100 publications about the work law and social security, and he's participated as researcher in 9 funded projects, and he coordinates the legislation side of magazine Trabajo y Derecho, work on law, and he frequently participates as guest speaker at different workshops and courses like the one that we have today. So thank you very much, Enrique, and the floor is all yours. Thank you very much, Amaya, for that accurate introduction, and thanks for the invitation to participate here this morning at this beautiful Francisco de Vitoria room, this very interesting session. Thank you very much to Ascensión Iglesias, who sent me the invitation as president of UNAF, and thank you all for being here today. Please allow me to give a special welcome to Annemie Driskens for sharing this morning with us. Guten Morgen, Frau Driskens. And thank you for coming. Y gracias por venir. Buenos días, señora Driskens, y gracias por venir. So I would like to talk about what John Iglesias asked me about, the use of time. So from the point of view that I know the most, that this is the labor point of view. From the legal and work point of view, but we need to do a previous reflection about why have we come to this regulation framework. So the work law regulates labor relationships. It appeared after the Industrial Revolution to give coverage to the to people that work for third parties, to create, for example, the working contract, and to generate different collective rights, collective bargaining agreement, collective conflict, etc., and to articulate the rights that workers had, and to set what employers could and couldn't do. But the presence of social and democratic rule of law that becomes into a reality, especially after 1919, it would be consolidated after the World War II, it made work be perceived in a different way. So even rights that have been historically acknowledged, generally speaking, to people, etc., were included in a normal, regular basis to work and labor law. So, like, for example, right of expression, freedom of expression, religious freedom, any other right that the citizens can enjoy in a rule of law, they have a very important presence in the labor relationships sphere. This is what my teacher, Professor Palomeque, coined as unspecific rights from the labor point of view. So this is what we are analyzing today. Work affects our lives in a direct way, in quite a considerable way in terms of its size. We've seen that in the previous interventions. Ms. Triskens has made a very accurate review of these dimensions and how many aspects of our daily lives are mixed in all this, but there are some rights in the labor sphere that have their origin out of the labor relationship. So we devote a very long time to our work. It's an aspiration sometimes, especially for the ones that don't have it, or that have very limited jobs or precarious jobs. But we also have other obligations, responsibilities, or even, why shouldn't we say it, we have the right to have fun, to rest, to enjoy our family. Because sometimes this discussion is tackled from the point of view of obligations and family burdens. I won't use this word. I use this to call your attention because it seems that having a family is a serious problem, when having a family is a great luck and blessing for everybody. So we need to approach things from a different way. To have a family is amazing. So at a social and democratic state, we need to make decisions from public policies, from PPPs, so that these realities become into what the person's dignity aspire and according to the rights of their personality. But we are speaking about quite recent phenomenon. Maybe this example could be quite striking. Until 1994, when Law 42/1994 was passed, 30th of December, the law about tax, administrative and social regulation law was passed. Well, it's a law that is known as the law of accompaniment. Until that law, not even on the social security law we could see maternity as a protected situation in a differentiated way. It was when we made a difference with what was called temporary disability or inability to work. There was a difference between working capacity and maternity. It was, how could that be? So maternity and working capacity basically were treated the same way. So there was no conceptual difference. And reconciliation, not every reconciliation is maternity. So this is the starting point, year 1994. We started to speak about reconciliation a little bit before, in the context of the EU. The European Letter of Social Rights of Working People is from 1989, the 9th of December 1989, had stated in the last part of Article 16 that had to do with equal treatment between men and women. It stated as follows: it is convenient to develop measures that allow both men and women combine their professional obligations and family obligations more easily. So this is the first regulation referation. So by then it was used the word combine, not to reconcile. So it would be the transposition in the Spanish law, would be in 1999, and we would start speaking about reconciliation between work and private life. So that was a concept that was extended during its evolution with the expression personal life, because the worker or the person doesn't only have a family family and work life. They can also, and they should have, personal life for the leisure, to have fun, or to do whatever they want. So that's the context. That's a new context that requires not only legal changes that have been producing, as Ms. Triskens has pointed out, and the implementation or transposition of European laws. The EU has done a good job on a global scale. I think that it has become the leader of this kind of concepts, and of course that has to be transposed into the internal concepts. But that's not enough. We have a cultural shift. It has to be a change of mindset. It has to be. We need to suppress these roles that have been allocated in a random way. I would even say in an unfair way. We've seen that too when we are speaking about taking care, when we are speaking about family care in particular, we think of women randomly. And even when that means a sacrifice, a discrimination, an important prejudice to their labor and professional activity. And the labor activity is important in order to be able to accomplish the effective equality and the development of personal capacities, because the work is what guarantees the effective equality. In the end, it's about having our own resources, what gives us independence, what allows us to develop our professional potentialities. What has been studied, we can put that into practice, and it is what allows us to be empowered, because we get into decision-making spheres. If we are out of the working sphere, out of the business sphere, you name it, it is almost impossible to accomplish that. So, discrimination at work has an impact on equality too. In that change of role attribution is paramount, because otherwise, I'm going to put some examples, the new legal formulas that appeared during the 90s would become, as they have become, in fact, this is why we've had to change them, to extend them and to make nuances to them. Last Spanish regulations, the Royal Decree 5/2023 from the 3rd of June, we've had to include new things that transpose the last directive from 2019. So these instruments that have been normatively created become into a new way of discrimination, or new discriminations, or what is usually called second-degree discriminations. See, I was saying that the concept of maternity has been overcome since 2019. Now we don't speak about maternity. I will speak about this concept very briefly. But this concept, maternity, well, it had to be fine-tuned, but it was included as a situation in the social security legislation in 1994. So previously there have been two very important directives. One of them that has been specific from 1992 about maternity, and another general one about health and safety at work, that framework directive of 1989, where we have the origin of labor risk prevention law in Spain of 1995. So it was an important step forward by then. But you know that perfectly. Sometimes it has been said that maternity is a problem for women to be hired, to access a job position during the selection process, to develop their functions, to get different bonuses, internal promotion, to be able to accomplish other positions. And of course, there are many judgments and claims. It's like, well, you are around the age of having children. Are you going to have children? You don't ask that to men. But if you ask this to a man, it is some kind of credit to him. If you're a man, you're going to be responsible, but if you're a woman, we'll have to replace you, because if women are taking care of the children when they have fever or whatever, I mean, this protection, if it is applied in an inconvenient way, becomes into a discrimination. And when in 1999 the directives that had been agreed were transposed, I will speak about how important social dialogue is in all this. All the directives that have been agreed were transposed into the Spanish law, that first law that uses the word or the expression working people, that law from 1999, when the reconciliation rights were included. Well, that's another important step forward. Of course, the flexibility needs, permissions, even if contract suspension was necessary, all those things were included. But in the end, in the reconciliation rights, although the law said working people to avoid any misunderstanding, they only remembered that of workers, because it seems that reconciliation as labor rights was a right just for female workers. So in Spanish we make a difference between man and woman with the gender. So working people would be feminine, would be a female word. So it seems that they only remembered that this has to be applied to workers, female workers. So that's the explanation. It seems that they won't pay attention to the word content, etc., and that's not true. So it's like reconciliation rights that has happened with maternity protection was another source of discrimination, a second-degree discrimination. So see up to what extent, if we do not complete a change of mindset and consideration to say what's the equality and co-responsibility in caretaking of society, the progress that is included from the EU law or from the Spanish law become into another new discrimination reason. Right now we have reconciliation rights, and they are for women. But what do you mean by women? I mean, they are the ones that reconcile, right? Why? So that's the argument. As far as there's a wage gap, they usually receive less money, and if they receive less money, it's not that traumatic for families to give up on that remuneration. So that's the last straw about discrimination. So now there's another discrimination that's especially serious, and that's a wage gap that has been tackled in recent sessions that were organized from other dimensions by Choni Iglesias here in Salamanca. So what's the current situation then in the use of work? That caretaking, and this is the great discussion for the coming years, it has already started both in the EU and in the member states, caretaking has to be focused and tackled from a totally different point of view. In the EU, some decisions have been adopted, caretaking strategy from a general point of view, not only of children or relatives. I mean, we need a great agreement. I truly believe that a great state agreement about caretaking in Spain. This is one of the pillars of the social and democratic state that has not been developed. It has only been partially developed from the law that regulated the personal autonomy and dependency, only partially. But that's the great challenge that advanced societies have. This caretaking has to be tackled from a different point of view. And with this European and Spanish caretaking strategy, by the way, this is what consumes the vast majority of our non-working time. When we take care of relatives or close people, we need to see how the public powers are involved. We've seen that this has been tackled nowadays here in Salamanca. The public administrations have to be co-responsible in that caretaking strategy, because there are services that, well, as we've done, for example, when we include the national health system, the social services system, there are services like, for example, the service devoted to caretaking in a general way, where the administrations have to be present. So this is from a general point of view. taking into account the idea of who takes care of who and what the role of everybody in society, in the family, etc. So we haven't finished with that reflection at all. So there are ups and downs, and we need to finish this from the full equality and public intervention perspective, even with the participation of citizens and families. And what about the legal point of view? I was telling you that, well, I don't want to be pessimistic because it's not. I was telling you that progresses that have happened since year 1994, after that 1999, after that the Organic Law 3/2007 about equality, its improvement through the Royal Decree 6/2019, its new amendment by Royal Decree 5/2023, this group of measures have tried to strengthen or even clarify, shed light on the reconciliation measures and rights from a point of view that avoids discriminations. We need to be crystal clear on this, because it entails a shift of mindset and point of view. But on the one hand, we are not speaking about maternity anymore. First of all, we took the step of speaking about paternity, if you remember that. We said maternity, if there is no paternity situation, can become into a risk for equality and for the right use of time. Because if we identify to have a child with a period of going out of our ordinary work life, or with a period of activity reduction by women and only by women, as I was saying before, this would be an unfair situation, but real, unfortunately, and this could entail new discrimination. So let's speak about paternity too. If we have children, we should have maternity and paternity, and there should be a response in terms of social security protection and other public systems. And if we are able to put that on the same level, we will reduce the discrimination risk, because the employer can hire a man or a woman and they would go through the same situation. So several effects are accomplished. First one would be to foster co-responsibility in caretaking, and the second one would be the removal of fields for discrimination. I think that it was a very right decision by the European law that was transposed to the Spanish law, and this is from 2007. It's still younger. This reform or amendment of the national social security law and its related laws was in year 2007. Effective equality of men and women. Because we can't understand maternity only, I've said only, as a measure linked to working women health and safety. It's also that. It is how it was created. This is why it emerged in 1994, and it was developed in Spain by the law 31/1995, the labor risk law that created the maternity situation from the preventive point of view, about the risk in pregnancy or breastfeeding, etc. So there are new concepts that are thinking of women's health when they are giving birth, on the postpartum period, and about the child that has been born and that needs to be taken care of in front of different situations that could have an indirect impact on him through the mother. So of course, when we are speaking about efficient protection of the working people, of course that's mandatory. But not only that, because otherwise the sphere would be, or the range would be very reduced. So from this other point of view of caretaking, of the time use, etc., removal of discrimination, etc., paternity concept is developed. And in 2019, as the effect had not been fully accomplished, a new step was taken. The Organic Law 3/2007 through the Royal Decree 3/2023, and other figures were created. They started to speak about the underage caretaking This is how it is included in the social security law, and about taking care of the breastfed, so to speak. So we are speaking about men and women, parents. So it's not differentiated through paternity, to draw the attention in the sense that co-responsibility exists since the child is born. And if anybody wants to discriminate that, it will be prosecuted by law, of course. No matter if it's direct or indirect discrimination, but now conceptually it can't be used as an element to create second-degree discriminations in the labor world and subsequently in society. So there was an important step in the use of time from the legal point of view and from the point of view of giving birth and taking care of an underage, of an infant, in all these fields. And another bunch of decisions have been applied in the labor world, both for companies and public administrations. The emergence on the Organic Law 3/2007 on the measures and equality plans. Equality measures that were mandatory for every company and public administrations, and equality plans that, with the amendment of 2019, the number of workers that the company needs to have has been reduced, so that the equality plan is mandatory until 50. So in 2007 it was 150 or 250, I think it said, and in 2019 this number reduced to 50. So these equality plans need to take all the mechanisms into account so that it can be guaranteed that the reconciliation right exercise doesn't entail a new risk of discrimination. So this is why we have the diagnosis, the group of measures that, among many other aspects, tackles all this to remove any risk that reconciliation becomes into that risk, or that discrimination risk. And another element where we have taken an important step forward in terms of the EU law, it has been very recently transposed in Spain through the Royal Decree 5/2023, is the management of other permissions and other situations. The basic public workers statute has been amended for several times between 2019 and 2023. The last one is quite huge. And as Ms. Driskins has said, it has created the parental permission, that new figure that has been just configured, and it has been transposed into the Spanish law. And right now, the criteria are quite clear in this new generation rules in Europe and Spain, because transposition has to be thorough and accurate with the rules that are passed by the EU. So the reconciliation rights have to be executed in a co-responsible way. So this is why I'm speaking about the co-responsible execution of these reconciliation rights. There is no other interpretation possible. So it is foreseen that these rights are the ones that we have, they are acknowledged, its ownership and content are acknowledged, but its execution has to be co-responsible. There is no other way to execute these rights. These are not rights that are attributable to women, and they never were. But as far as there were people that misunderstood that, it has been highlighted, and now we insist in the co-responsible execution of these rights. And the caretaking sphere has been increased, the presence of new rights and new obligations of the employers in the caretaking field. We've increased the amount of people that can and should be taken care of, and some permissions have been expanded. We've created this new parental permission. Some permissions have been extended in time, and to make the long story short, we've completed an evolution that has been difficult, but it has meant that the Article 4 of Workers' Statute includes the acknowledgement of reconciliation rights. They were not included yet. They were included with other law, a very important law, the law of the equality law, not only from the gender point of view, but also from the LGTB points of view. So the current situation, and that's what the title says, it's a situation that is notably better in terms of rights acknowledgement. So this stage, since year 1999 to year 2023, has been quite an intense stage in generating concepts, regulations, especially with the great European boost. I insist again, the European Union has been very important in this sense, and its transposition into the internal law of new concepts, new laws, and new points of view. And I would like to highlight this. I would like to conclude without doing so that one of the most important sources to move on in regulating and applying, because with regulation it's not enough, we have to apply subsequently, of these new rules, these new rights, or its full execution, is social dialogue. Social dialogue in the EU is quite rich and important, not only in the Economic and Social Committee, and by the way, its president will visit Castilla y León soon, this region, but also between the relationship between the trade unions and business organizations that exist in the EU. For example, Business Europe, for example, represents the big companies, or the combination of SMEs in Europe, or the CEP, that represents the public companies, or CES, that is the European trade union that includes the main trade unions in the European Union.
That's quite an outstanding discussion, and from the point of view of the later directives, the discussion between the corporate world and also with the participation of the ECOSOC by all the social organizations, and it's very important the presence of the family organizations there, such as Families Europe, and also in the case of Spain, Spanish organization. And we've had important speakers in European bodies since 2012 at least. So establishing social discussion along with other organizations is paramount. And why is that so? Well, that social dialogue is very important because employers and unions will have to agree, and they will have to identify the problems and the social needs, because these are social needs, what we're speaking about. They're going to legitimize their implementation. It's useless to pass laws, even if they are very ambitious, if they do not have social backing, a large social backing. When a rule is promoted, those to implement it have to be really aware of the importance of that regulation, and they also have to be aware of the barriers. And likewise, they have to be aware of the general interest and the benefits for people and the society as a whole. The social dialogue at a European level presented very important proposals, and the social dialogue in Spain also has very good examples. I would like to congratulate the Spanish counterparts because they delivered a lesson on social responsibility during the COVID pandemic, and later on their actions have been studied by neighboring countries in the EU and also from the Americas. That is the most useful social dialogue context to carry out new regulations that can be implemented in the way that's wanted, and no tricks will be sought after to turn it into new direct or indirect fraud. This is not just a legal problem. You can tell that I tend to speak about norms and terms because they are essential. without this acknowledgement, we wouldn't have moved forward. It is very important that we come up with a new mindset. We all need to do caretaking up to the extent that that we have to, and because we are people take care of people. That's the origin of social groups, and that's probably why our species evolved, because we started to work as a group and to coordinate ourselves and to help each other, and that's how we managed to stand out from all the species in our planet and become what the human beings have become. And this is why it hurts so much to be in the situation we're at. And this is why I claim for peace right now. We need to understand that, as we can see on those paintings, weapons should not be used, and let's achieve peace, and let's remove terrorism. And a species has become the main species, the top species on the planet, because we started caring for each other. And we need to take care of that, so that does not become a problem or a danger for our mental health, and that should not become a danger for the economic and productive system or for the system of our lives together. Because indeed we spoke about double or triple shifts, that women suffer the most, and that leads to a permanent feeling of unease and lack of comprehension, which is very tough to go through every day. We need to have a different approach from the point of view of the law, the administration, and the political science, because in the end, if we want to have births, if we want quality of life for families, if we want our societies to move forward, either we regulate care, or we acknowledge everyone's responsibility, or we articulate a compatible system, a system that's compatible with care, or we will find a society in a crisis that will not be able to tackle the challenges in the future. We cannot ask for heroes in the future at any level. Heroes are for very specific situation, but a system does not work with heroes. It works with duties and rights and legitimacy, with everyone being satisfied of contributing to the well-being of our relatives and our dear ones, our children as well, and also our environment, because the environment is changing and can be changed from our immediacy and our surroundings. So congratulations for today's approach with the European approach, the Families Europe approach, and UNAF approach. I think that has been very successful. This is a very strategic point. It will be discussed about and it will be regulated, and we need to give a right answer to this issue in our society. Our society is has long-living individuals, and it needs younger people. We need more natality rates, birth rates. We need proper birth care policy, both in Spain and also at a European level. And that's a goal. We want to have a well-built, society. So thank you very much.
Bueno, pues muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias por ayudarnos a entender dónde estamos y de dónde venimos.
Thank you very much. Thanks for help us understand where we're standing and where we come from, and about that need that we need a changing culture and gender approach in public policies, and care has to be acknowledged to prevent discrimination. And we are facing a great challenge, and I hope we can push forward the social discussion, and that national level agreement for care should help us move forward and find the balance we need. We have 5 minutes for questions. I know that's not very long, but if you have questions, now is the right time for you, and Rika is here available for you. I think we're all overwhelmed by so much information. We're all reflecting upon everything that has been put on the table today.
Sorry, although I had already the stage, and I listened very carefully to what you said. You just mentioned that you don't like heroes, but I would like to congratulate you together with UNAF to be the hero on this paternity leave at the same level as the maternity leave. It's really unique in Europe, so very, coming out of my heart, I would say congratulations. I think it deserves an applause. Because we made this comparative analysis about the implementation of the work-life balance, and I come from Belgium. You know, we have paternity leave for 10 days only. We have parental leave who is very badly paid, so we are really trying to push the government, and that's what you did, I think, so congratulations. I have one question maybe also, if I may. We are discussing during our work on the work time. Nowadays, the commuting time is considered to be in family time. So it's up to you how you spend this. Is there a discussion with the employers to share this, or is this not discussed at all? I don't know if you know what I mean. So the time, if you live abroad, then you have to sometimes 1 hour, and it's all about your private time that's taken away. It's not taken into account by the employers. Could that be a solution to share this, or what do you think about it? But once again, congratulations and thank you for the presentation.
Muchas gracias por tu pregunta.
Thank you very much for your question. That's an issue we are studying and discussing in Spain with the social stakeholders as well, social counterparts as well. And it's been quite hard. The way we organize our work and time in Spain is very different from other countries, and not just from the legal point of view, because that aspect must be very similar, but it's very different from the practical point of view. In Spain, in spite of what's usually thought about, we tend to spend long hours at work, and that makes life very difficult, and that produces lots of stress on workers, especially when it comes to taking care of their personal or family lives. And that does not mean that we are more productive even if we are sitting at work for longer. There are experts that are analyzing this. Is it good to sit at work for long hours, or is it better to be efficient while you're at it? That's when some are calling now presentialism. It seems to be good for a worker to be present regardless of what they do there. The good thing is that for them to be there, and that's a big mistake. It's proven by experts that you're not working more just for the fact that you're there for longer. Now there is an ongoing conversation on whether we should have a different time zone in Spain. There was also a commission at the Senate. We share the same time zone than Central Europe, and we are much more in the West. And some thought that we should adopt the Portuguese or British time zone because of our geographical location, and well, that discussion is not there anymore. But experts and the social stakeholders are still discussing better use of better management of the working hours. They are discussing about working from Monday to Thursday. This is an ongoing discussion right now in Spain. In various caste groups, very few so far, they are already implementing it. Some studies point at better results. Combination with work from home, a mix of work from home and presence work, Work from home was forced in Spain due to a very exceptional situation that was during the pandemic to prevent contagion, but that's not work from home. That's a specific measure under a case of a horrible situation. Now the use of work from home is being discussed. Like I said before, there was a question before about that, and that's a measure of balancing. That was a result of the social agreement, and now it's pending on how it can be carried out, so it won't have a negative impact on women. Some claim that it's up to women to work from home so they can take care of their homes. And that would be a major step backwards. That's a no-go. So, and the unions, organizations are saying that that's not in discussion. So we need to find a better use of the work from home. And you said that before, thinking about environmental issues. That it seems that we all have to go at the same time and in and out of work at the same time. Even in small cities, there are traffic jams. Can't compare this with Madrid, of course, but at some specific points, because it seems that we all must get in and out at the same time and work the same amount of time. There could be different possibilities, such as counting care as working hours. You have leaves, paid leaves, reduce working days, but also working times can be more flexible. That's not looked into much, and also care can be taken into account. If we bring down the working hours and we make it more efficient while leaving the opportunity to some flexibility, well, that's something that's being studied by the relevant experts and the relevant authorities in the regions of Spain, and also by the social stakeholders. There is a long way to go. We need to discuss much. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's different from one industry to the next. And I can't speak very much because this is a very thrilling topic. So I try not to speak too much. And some industry can suffer from the advancement of other industries. Commerce, trades, leisure, hospitality, tourism, these suffer from the advancement of other industries. So the way forward is not leveled for every industry, because you want to have flexible working times, but then you want to go shopping or buy your groceries whenever you want, and you want flexible times for others, and that can have an impact on the price of products as well. And now is the wrong time for that because of the inflation, or that could lead to more rigidity in that other industry. So that's going to be a point of discussion soon. In Spain, more than in other places, we've had very rigid and very long working hours, and that has made it difficult for us to organize this, manage it. Thank you. I think we don't have more time, and I'm really sorry about that. But we are already over the time, so we need to stop here. We could keep on speaking about this all day long because this is very thrilling, and we're affected by it. So we will keep on doing conferences like this one to keep on moving forward, because that's the whole point of it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
disculpar, es para que se me vea más que nada.
Sorry, this is for you to see me, basically.
Muchísimas gracias.
So thank you very much to everyone for coming along. Thank you very much to the speakers. Thanks, Anime, for being here in Salamanca with us. I know that it has been a pleasure for you, but it has been difficult for you to come, so thank you. And thank you, Enrique. You are always here when we call you, and you are a very great expert in all these stuff. So, they've told me to draw the conclusions, but they would be very long, and I don't know if we would have time, but I would like to tell you I would like to draw some conclusions according to what Enemy has said. I'll try to read what she has said. She's talked about the use of time in the family in Europe, and time, she says that in family is essential to create strong connections, and it helps us strengthen bonds, and it helps us communicate and understand ourselves. Parents are the first educators, without any kind of doubt. The family is the first place where the children are educated, and it's the first place where they will know how to socialize. We always say that education has to be at schools. We always speak about education at universities, but certainly education in the family is paramount, so this is why we need to be in family. I always say that I disagree with the fact that fathers and mothers are taking care of their children one after the other. So children need both, and they need to be raised in that environment. They need to see how this co-responsibility works. If they see this co-responsibility, they will be a future co-responsible man or woman. So it is paramount to see that. So my cell phone is very stupid, and I've lost the text. The last generation, yeah, I'm sure. So we were saying that the more we help families reconcile, the less problems we'll have, and we'll have less risk of poverty for families. Families need time, need services and resources to live with dignity. It is something that Anime repeats very frequently about resources in the family, because if there are no resources, there are great difficulties. And last but not least, services and childcare taking should match with the working hours, and we need to take care of elderly people, and in the long term, of course. I've tried to make the long story short, but I think that what Anime has said has been quite well summarized. And by Enrique Cabero, of course, I totally agree with the fact that the family is not a burden at all. It's a gift. We saw that when we were required to speak about the laws about family. I've always said the family is not a burden, just the opposite. So the family is the key core of society, and we need to take care of it. And for that, with the inclusion of women into the labor market, we need to start to speak about reconciliation, but not only about reconciliation by women, but also about reconciliation by men too. Mr. Enrique Cavero speaks a lot, and he always says about co-responsible reconciliation. It is a word that I've taken from him, and I always use it when I need to speak about this topic, co-responsible reconciliation. He has talked about the laws, he knows that perfectly, and everything are in his mind. It's something surprising, he doesn't even need to read them. So a big round of applause for your head, Enrique. It's amazing. You are unique. Thank you. And this summary that is made about the law since the beginning to the year that we are right now, unarguably, we have seen how maternity is not a risk anymore, but not from a labor point of view, of course, and we've included the word paternity. That is key. I think that the fact that we have always included the word paternity in labor relationships, it's a step forward, and it's a step forward for men. Men have started to realize of what they had lost and what was necessary to be taken into account. So these laws that protect paternity are absolutely necessary, and I think that they have to be praised by all the by every men here in our region and in the EU. And without further ado, because we are a little bit behind the schedule, I'd like to say thank you again to the University of Salamanca for having us here. Thanks to them for allowing us to have a walk around, and thank you very much again to COFASE for being here. Thank you for being here, and Amy, thank you. And thank you again to Enrique. Thank you to the UNAF technicians that have moved from Madrid, and a special thank you to Plaza Mayor technicians. That is one of the entities that is part of UNAF, and they have worked a lot to be able to develop this day. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Thank you.